Alright guys, we're gonna season a griddle. I've been trying to get this video uploaded for a while now. I had it filmed, but I just hadn't taken it off the camera. And when I did, I don't know what happened, but I lost some of my footage. I lost the intro and the beginning steps. So obviously I can't recreate it because I've started the seasoning. So I'm just gonna go through what you need and what I did, and then pick up where I was able to save whatever footage I had left, and which wasn't much that I got deleted. So, all right, let's get started, guys. This is we're gonna be seasoning the Blue Rhino Razor, and the bare minimum that you're gonna need to season any griddle, the Blackstone or I think Royal Gourmet makes one, and then this one here, is you're gonna need some sort of scraper of some sort, and that's just to move the oil around in the beginning. You don't really need it after unless you burn it and then you get it caked on. Then you're gonna have to scrape it. Then you're gonna need some paper towels. I didn't want to go get the ones from inside. These are just some shop towels for just for prop or so. And then some sort of oil. I prefer to use lard when I'm seasoning a griddle. I know there's flaxseed oil, grapeseed. I've heard of all sorts of different oils that people are recommending or manufacturers telling you to use. For me, lard's always worked the best. It's cheap, it's easy. I'm not trying to put grapeseed oil. That's kind of expensive if you ask me, and you're just gonna throw it on the griddle and get rid of it, you know. So lard, you can get it anywhere. And then some optional things that you're gonna need is heat resistant glove. This is just one that I got with my tool set here from Bottle Reacher. It's optional. I do recommend it. It makes it a little easier, so when you're going around the sides and stuff, if you don't have the tongs, the heat starts coming out and it gets kind of hot. So, and then tongs. This is just to hold the paper towel a little bit. You know, you're just wiping it just so you're not getting your hand so close to the griddle, because it is a little hot. And then you want to start doing the edges here. And if you don't have a scraper, any sort of spatula maybe that you have in your kitchen, this is just the one I have from Bottle Breacher. And you've seen me mention this several times. And the reason I mention them several times is they're not paying me or providing me anything. It's a veteran-owned organization. And being a veteran myself, I think it's important to support veteran businesses. So that's why I'm always featuring them in there. And plus, it's pretty cool. And I got some other items I want to show you from them that I just received. So, and if the scraper is too short, and I know a lot of people want something a little bit longer because they don't like their hands so close to the surface. I did see this online, and I ended up picking one up, but look at this thing. This is a griddle scraper, and I think it's Camp Chef who makes it. Yeah, Camp Chef. What do they call it? The scraper cleaning tool. This thing is enormous. I mean, just look at the size of that. So you can see how big it is. Those are for the people who want something to make a statement, or who doesn't want something this small. So that's what you're going to need. And obviously you're going to need your griddle, and you're going to need a propane. I didn't, because I'm not using this. I'm just shooting this intro. And then before you start, make sure you put your grease catch or whatever on. You tend to forget little things like that. And next thing you know, you got a big sopping mess everywhere that you got to clean up. So this, you're going to have to season the Razor, I think the Royal Gourmet, and the Blackstone. But if you don't want to go through all this trouble, because this is a lot of work and it takes time, I would recommend either hiring somebody to do it for you, or just purchase a Camp Chef. This is what we're hoping it's gonna look like somewhat here. This is actually brand new. It's never been cooked on, and this is seasoned from Camp Chef directly. I don't know their factory, I guess, but this is completely seasoned, and you're literally setting it up and cooking. This one here and all the other ones you're gonna have to season. So, but here we're gonna follow these directions here because they're actually essentially the same thing I do, but I'm gonna change a little things here, and you'll hear me mention it in the video what I did, but I'll just give you a heads up of what I'm doing. It's saying to light the griddle. It's saying to use a spatula, some cooking oil, vegetable oil or olive oil, paper towels, a barbecue stone or steel wool. You don't need that for this. I don't know why it's on there. Maybe for refurbishing the griddle. And then finishing oil, they're saying flaxseed oil. For finishing oil, at the very end on the last season that I do, I actually use you can use canola, you can use vegetables, whatever oil you plan on cooking with, to do the very last season, the initial one, just because I don't cook with lard. I only season with it, and I don't want that taste or that flavor or anything. It's just easier to use the oil that you plan on using for your final seasoning for a finishing one. And it's saying to light the griddle, and then it's telling you to put all the burners on high for 15 minutes, and then turn off the griddle after 15 minutes, and then allow it to cool but still warm, and then you're gonna wipe the surfaces down. That's probably just to burn off what was on here because it was kind of tacky. It's not tacky anymore, obviously. Well, it is a little bit just because from the seasoning. And then it's saying apply finishing oil and then repeat the process twice. For me, what I ended up doing is I put these on high, and this one on this high setting instead of this one that they call for, and I ended up reducing this one because these two burners, obviously you're going to get residual heat over. It was getting way too hot, so I was getting a season here, but I wasn't getting much of a season here just because of how hot this got. So I turned this completely down and this one down, and then kept these ones on high, and you'll hear me mention that in the video. And what I did in the beginning is I turned it on, and then I gave it a few minutes to warm up, and I just literally grabbed a big old hunk of lard and threw it on here. And what I did is I just smoothed it around. You don't want to leave it on too long because you don't want the lard to start popping or getting too hot and burning you. Plus it's too much to season. But I got enough to where it was all covered. After that, I lightly scraped it and then put it in my grease catcher here. And then after I did that, I just took a paper towel and kind of put a light pressure, and I think you'll see me do a coat with just light pressure on it, just enough to cover it. And I think that's where I picked up at. So that was my beginning steps, guys. But before we go, I want to show you some other stuff from Bottle Breacher. Check this stuff out. This is a bottle opener from the same company. It's a Bottle Breacher. It's dummy grenade. It's pretty awesome. And then this, I just literally got this today, which I guess is perfect timing. This is a 30mm Moab bottle opener. Just kind of give you a comparison. This is a 50 cal, and just look at the size difference between the two. They call this the Moab or something like that, and I'm gonna show you a comparison of how large this thing is. It's ridiculous. It's one of these conversation starters, if you ask me. Check that out. The size of that, it's enormous. So I'll leave the link to these products down below. I think they're awesome. He's doing an awesome job with this organization. So all right, guys, I will pick up where I last filmed. So all right, I went ahead and turned this burner down. When they say this is a sear burner, this is they weren't lying. You can tell because this discoloration here, it's seasoning quicker than it is the rest of this. So what I decided to do is I turned these on full blast all the way on and turn this one back down, just because this side is just getting way too hot. And there's nothing wrong with it, but I want a little bit more even coat. And just take a paper towel, and well, I got most of the oil that was on here. I just scraped it off, lightly scraped it off, and now I'm taking a paper towel and just not rubbing hard at all, just kind of on the surface, just to get a nice thinner coat. so I can let it burn off, because you don't want a whole bunch of oil sitting in here. It's gonna pop and burn you, and if that happens, don't say I didn't warn you. So as you can see, get the edges, you know. That's why I sprayed them down earlier when, sorry, let me set you guys down. Let me try this. I don't know if you guys can see. Hold on real quick. Sorry guys, hold on. Just careful on this outer edge. This is where the heat escapes. So it's pretty freaking hot. Even for me, and I can withstand some heat. Like I said, you don't need to do the outside. I like to. More of a uniform appearance, so. Hope you guys could see that, or I wasn't blocking. I don't know how else to do this, so. Okay, you want to grab a paper towel or something. I don't recommend throwing this in the garbage right away. I'd let it cool off. I'm sure it's not hot enough to start a fire, but I just don't want to risk it. Just keep it like that. So you can still see this thing is cranking on this side. I'm going to turn it down a little bit more on this here. But, alright, I'm going to let this burn off. Not all the way. Just enough to where I don't see it anymore and it's getting close, because once you let it burn off, you're gonna scrape a lot of this crap off, and I try to avoid having to scrape all that stuff off. I'm trying to put a finish on here. I'm not trying to scrape it. See, when you're scraping, you can see you're scraping the finish, so that's what you want to avoid. So alright guys, I'm going, like I said, just wait for it to cool off here. I'm going to keep it on, I'll wait for it to burn off a little more and then go from there. Alright guys, I let it burn off a little bit. You can see what it looks like. You don't want to let it completely burn, because then you're going to be scraping all this, and that's the last thing you want to avoid. So I just turned the burners off. So what I'm going to do is grab a wadded up paper towel or something and grab some oil, and we're gonna just do that light dusting again. But for me, I'm just gonna use this oil in here since it's already melted. So let me coat this real quick. Here. See, you don't need much oil, just because there's not a lot on here, and this is when some tongs come in handy. So just take it and just run it through. I'd use my hands, but this is still really hot. I had it on. I don't know. Let me check the time. Let's see. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to give you guys an idea of how long it takes. 20 minutes at least. 25 minutes since I started timing, so it's been a little longer than that. And just go along the edges here. And I'm just going to do this all the way around, and we're just going to, I need some more oil. It's kind of dry, so give me 1 second. Okay. We're just going to do this all along here, like so, but I'm going to finish this up. But this is what it looks like after the first coat. So I'll try to give you guys an idea of what to expect. Depending on your griddle, and your results will vary. Make sure you do it in a well ventilated area, not inside a garage, but I use it at the edge of my garage. And make sure you put these locks on if you're going to be going on the edge. The last thing you want is you bump into this here and then you sliding all the way down, or falling and hurting somebody, or burning. So safety first guys. But alright guys, well, I will get back with you once I'm done here. I'm probably going to only do maybe 2 more coats, and then I'll just show you my results for my initial seasoning. So all right guys, I only got one more coat in since we last left here. I recommend, if you want more of an even coverage, is anyways, if you don't, get an IR thermometer. That way you can learn the grill, because obviously this side is way hotter, and I think it has to do with that plate underneath and this being a sear burner. So, and since this is the first time I'm actually using this griddle, I still got to learn the temperatures as far as what I should be cooking on and stuff like that. So, but this doesn't look too bad for 2 coats, as you can see. You can always, that burner, those burners over there make a huge difference. So when you cook on this, just be aware that these are going to be a lot higher than what these are listed, just because it's rinse hotter on here. And once I get an instant thermometer and IR, I'll be able to see what the difference and variations, and then adjust for that. And then another thing that didn't help is I'm here at the edge of the garage, as you can see, and it's really windy. It's calmed down quite a bit, but when it's windy, you got low pressure, high pressure, you create a big old draft in here. It's hard to see, but I turned the burners off, but it just comes through here, and it was just blowing the flame all around. It still was heating up, but it just wasn't as effective as I would like. It's just because of the wind. But this is what you're kind of just giving you an idea. You're not going to get a good seasoning overnight. This takes time. If you don't want to waste your time on seasoning a griddle, my only recommendation is either A, have somebody else do it, or B, buy Blackstone flat top grill. Those come seasoned already, and it's uniformed. And when I make my comparison video here, I have the Blackstone here, but this is actually new. So I'll show you when I do the comparison that this is brand new, hasn't been cooked on yet. But it's completely seasoned right out of the box, and you're not going to have to spend, hours out here trying to get a good initial seasoning. But once you start building up on this seasoning, it's going to go a lot quicker. And I always recommend just cooking bacon or something greasy, sausage or something like that for your first cook, and just let it bake in, or just some fatty burgers or something. I'm actually going to do breakfast on here. That's the reason why I'm stopping, is my wife's getting hungry, so I got to run down to the grocery store and pick up some Pet Fresh or whatever dog food for my dog. We just ran out, and she didn't even notice when I looked in the fridge. So I don't know if I'll film. I might. It really depends on how much time I have. It doesn't take long to film, but then again, I'm not very good at this stuff anyways. So alright guys, if you guys have any questions, before, when you're done, just kind of grab a light coat. And I usually use canola oil or some of that butter flavored oil for your last coating or your last seasoning. I don't use lard the entire time. On the very last one, as far as this, I switch to what I usually cook with, and that's usually canola or that butter flavored oil, and I'll use that to season from now on. But this was just to get me started here, and then after that I'll just use a spray or go get that squirt bottle full of that butter flavored. So, but yeah, just put a light dusting and you're good to go. So if you guys have any questions, comments, anything like that, or suggestions, I'm always willing to learn something new. I know there's some guys out there who are a little bit better, more knowledgeable at things, and I'm the first to admit that I don't know everything. And it's always, I like interacting with everybody in the comment section. So alright guys, well, you guys have a good day.